Science says mind did it.
No, your experience makes you assume a human did it.
And what do you assume when you see a sandcastle or an SOS on a beach? A squirrel did it?
Believe it or not, science doesn't have a whole lot to say on the subject of sandcastles.
Well, believe it or not, I didn't say that science has a whole lot to say. What it does say is this little. This little amount of information is what science, in other words, observations of nature. This is what observations tell us. They tell us erosion doesn't do it. Mind does. That's what science tells us.
And the issue is order, not beauty, so don't give me an example of erosion creating a beautiful pattern of wavy lines on a beach.
Why would I give you that as an example? Look.
Other atheists, in my experience, have given me that as examples to try to prove that there is no need for a mind to create fancy things, like an arch in a desert in Utah, for example, done by some global flood or something.
Why would I give you an example at all? An example to accomplish what?
You tell me, since you gave me an example, you hypocrite.
Anyway, maybe one of those lame ones where somebody fills a bucket up with sand and then just flips it over and says, "There, a sandcastle."
But that's just like a mound. That's a mound. How is that a castle? How is a mound a castle? Look how you're desperately trying to move the goalpost to make it easier for your mindlessness to be able to achieve it. Because you can't even achieve a sandcastle. And yet you claim you can achieve DNA mindlessly?
It's a simpler structure more in line with the structures that we see created through geologic processes, like mountains, canyons, buttes, things like that. The structure you're showing in particular is pretty unlikely through...
Pretty unlikely without intention means possible.
Atheist fanatics argue that with an infinite amount of time, it'd be inevitable for sandcastles to erode into existence.
I don't know if I count as one of these fanatics, but for my part, I guess I'd just say no, I don't argue that. I'm not aware of any process operating here, at least on Earth beaches, that even with an infinite amount of time would make it inevitable that sandcastles would be eroded into existence. So why would I argue that it's going to happen?
When I said atheist fanatics argue that unintentional sandcastles are inevitable in infinity, I was talking about consistent atheists in this regard, so of course a hypocrite like you, Sockman, is not whom I was thinking of when I said that. By the principle that actions speak louder than words, you see Sockman trying to distance himself from the notion of an unintentional sandcastle, even though he believes life was unintentional. That's hypocrisy, because the dumb fable of slime into Frankenslime is way more miraculous and less likely, as if such myths even had a chance, than unintentional sandcastles. Why does he cling to the more magical atheist fable? Abiogenesis needs to have a plausible falsification scenario to be a scientific explanation, so give one, Sockman. Make me laugh with your attempt or refusal to even try. Like other atheists. Amino acids aren't evidence, or else so are farts, since both are found in living things and can be imagined to transform into life. Your atheist alchemy is more miraculous than any religious story, you silly hypocrites who bash magic. Scintillamde strawmanned me. He should ask first what I believe. He is not allowed to use logical deduction to figure out my beliefs, or what I would believe if consistent.
The claim that sandcastles are made by human beings is not in dispute here.
Moving the goalpost from science proves mind alone creates sandcastles to merely sandcastles are made by human beings. Atheists are always cheaters.
Sandcastles really are not relevant to the topic of whether God exists or not.
Oh, but they are. My argument proves that they are. Because the fact that mindlessly they cannot be achieved, their order, means that more orderly things cannot be achieved without a mind either. Sandcastles are intelligently designed. Atheists believe intelligent design is not necessary to explain things with more order than a sandcastle. But the fact that sandcastles require intention means that things with higher order necessarily do as well.
And I said the bar at the low level of a sandcastle. And you can't even reach that high, atheists.
The bar. The bar of what? Whether atheism can explain how humans make stuff?
The bar of what can you achieve without a mind? That bar. And here is what science says you can achieve without a mind. Not even one sandcastle. Therefore, a mind is necessary for that level of order, let alone higher, such as your body, such as that hat. Intelligent
Where
design.
I'm getting hung up here, I think, is that you present this video like it's about atheism, but then you, I think, are talking about naturalistic explanations for natural phenomena not being true because humans make sandcastles.
Guy, you're confusing yourself for no reason. Because you haven't even finished listening to my argument, and you're trying to attack it as if it's a complete argument already. I'm not finished with my argument. Let me finish the blessed argument.
It's already really muddled and confusing, and
It's muddled and confusing because you're making it muddled and confusing. If you don't interrupt the person giving the argument, maybe, and let them finish, maybe it won't be so confusing.
I don't even know what you're trying to get across to me, or
You don't know, or you don't want to know?
how it relates to the atheism-theism question.
How it relates? Intelligent design. Sandcastles require it, therefore higher levels of order do. Voila.
Then again, I don't understand how it relates
You don't understand. Yes, you don't understand. That's all you needed to say in this video. I don't understand. Or better yet, I don't want to
to
understand.
the naturalism question either. I
But
don't
then you'd be honest, and that's just not your character. I mean, again, look at your title, man. Look at this. What is this? Go down. Look at this shit. Where is my reasoning? Where is my reasoning? See, in the video that you're doing, before 3 minutes are over, you've constantly interrupted the argument, pretended that the argument is finished, which is dishonest and not rational, yet you call yourself logic. You totally omit my reasoning, and over 3,000 not smart people give you a like. Wow.
I mean, I think the argument you're putting forth here is, hey, look, science, this thing that you don't think happens without humans.
Science, but I'm not against science. Circular reasoning atheist. Science has never supported any atheist position that has contradicted the Bible ever. As my series, The Politically Incorrect History of Atheism, plus refutations of atheist myths such as ice ages, dinosaurs, the Big Bang, quantum physics, as my series proves.
Doing it doesn't happen without humans doing it. So therefore, everything you think does happen
So therefore, what is this so therefore? That's redundant. Come on, man.
doesn't happen at all. It's not.
Oh, that's right, I'm nitpicking. Well, if you can do it, so can I. Also, I don't ignore your arguments, so it doesn't matter that I'm nitpicking.
Much of an argument, really. And either way, it really doesn't have a lot to do with the...
Of course there's not much of an argument. You haven't even finished listening to the argument, and you're saying it's not much of an argument. Imagine you go to get paid. Someone gives you $5. You say, this isn't much of a payment. They're like, hey, let me finish paying you. I haven't even finished giving you all of the bills. And then they give you $5 more. And you're like, hey, this isn't much of a payment. Hold on, man. Let me give you $5 more. This isn't much of a payment. Wait, man. On and on. Come on, man. Patience.
basic question of whether there's a God or not.
You claim to jump over mountains. Atheist fanatics argue that with an infinite amount of time, it'd be inevitable for sandcastles to erode into existence.
I don't know if I count as one of these fanatics.
You haven't said that about sandcastles, but your paradigm implies that it is possible for them to not require intelligent design. After all, that's atheism. You don't believe in intelligent design, so why would you believe it is necessary for a sandcastle to be intelligently designed? Atheists believe that nothing ultimately requires intelligent design. I'm just applying the atheist standard across the board. Which you complain about because it proves you're insane, especially if you were consistent for believing erosion could do what science proves it can't. Here is a fan of ill-Logicked who is less dishonest than ill-Logicked, because this one admits he believes erosion or whatever could make sandcastles. Some mindless forces, which he calls naturally occurring. Yeah, because there are naturally occurring processes that make sandcastles. That's why they are known to exist. Oh wait, they're never ever known to exist in thousands of years in all of the beaches of all the worlds, because there is no naturally occurring process that could make a sandcastle. These people, man. This atheist is truth-phobic because he totally ignores and runs from my argument's proof for it being impossible for sandcastles to erode into existence. This devout atheist shat out an argument from incredulity fallacy and circular reasoning. Impossible! To prove that it's impossible! Anything is possible! I've asked some of these atheists, is it possible that you are the reincarnation of Hitler's final turd? Some of them have actually said yes, because they tried to be consistent. They stoop to such nonsense to try to... just you people. The liar ignores my proof. Again, exponentially more regression of order than the rare mindless progression of order equals destruction overall, not creation to any high level like of a sandcastle.
But for my part, I guess I'd just say no, I don't argue that. I'm not aware of any process operating here, at least on Earth beaches, that even with an infinite amount of time would make it inevitable that sandcastles would be eroded into existence.
Well, you're underestimating infinity then, and the faith many atheists have, in mindlessness, after all. You believe that life came from non-life. If life can come about mindlessly, why can't a sandcastle? So this is some hypocrisy here. Now, the atheists who do say that sandcastles, in my experience, they do say that sandcastles can erode into existence, are the ones who say that after I present the scenario to them, which I did not as a strawman fallacy of atheists, because I never said you said that. I never said most atheists said that sandcastles can erode into existence, but that you would say that if you weren't a hypocrite, or if you were consistent. I would never accuse you of consistency, atheists. So I would never say that you believe that tornadoes make houses. I know you don't believe that. You're not retarded. You're aware of the flaws of believing in mindlessness as more progressive than regressive, even though you do that very thing when it comes to nature itself. So in my inbox I got a bunch of messages from people, a horde of atheists attacking me. And and many of them were accusing me of a strawman fallacy, saying, you don't know what we believe. We never said sandcastles can erode into existence. Well, you're the one strawmanning, because I never said that you did say that. I'm saying that you would if you were consistent. And that is the key here.